Stiles, you sort of signalled last week that you were really not happy with the bench. Is that why we're seeing all these changes on that, particularly in that 23?
Yeah, definitely. I flagged straight after the game on the weekend that I was disappointed with the bench's performance, and it wasn't just that game. I reckon over the last couple of weeks, in particular Andrew Reddy and Nick Frisby's preparation hadn't been spot on. It takes so much to prepare well. It's tough to win Super Rugby, and you can't just rock up on a Saturday and expect to win. It's the preparation you've got to put in Monday to Friday that sets you up to be able to perform well, and unfortunately for those two, it just hasn't been up to scratch. It's something I've been speaking to them about along the way, and what I'm looking for now is that they'll go back to club rugby, they'll play at club, and I'm wanting to see a response from them. It's really important for them. You look at them from last year. Both of them were starters, but there was no pressure on them to hold their starting position. They both played some very good football. This year, with the added depth in the squad, both of them were challenged for their starting positions, and you've seen Stephen play and you've seen James Tuttle work exceptionally hard to come and start, and so it's a bit of a setback for them, but hopefully long term it's going to be a blessing in disguise for them.
I was going to say there was a lot of talk last season that Reddy was really pushing for potentially even Wallaby's berth. Frizz got his Wallaby's debut. Do you think they got a bit complacent? Would you say that?
Oh, listen, I've been in Nick's shoes in a sense that, I know what it's like to start your first year. Last year was really his first year as a starting nine for us. Then to go away on a Wallaby spring tour, and it's a big year physically, and it's a big year mentally challenging. And probably Nick has come back from that tour just a little bit drained, and that then transferred into his preparation and how he's been performing. So this is a chance for him just to go back, reassess, and play some good football at club and get a bit of confidence again, and then come back and contribute here with the Reds.
Just on the guys coming in, so we've got Alex Murphy coming in, who's been a young sort of gun in the Queensland scene for a while, as well as Moses. What in both of their games, what is really pleasing to see on your side of things?
Oh, first thing's opportunity. You love to give players in the group opportunity. Alex has had those setbacks I talk about for Nick and Andrew. Alex has had those setbacks through his first sort of 3 or 4 years out of school. He's had a couple of shoulder recons, which has really, hindered his progression. But he's a fantastic footballer. He's someone that, has been in our system for a while now, but through injuries hasn't had an opportunity to play. He's got his body right. He's been playing some very good football for Bond University, and now gets his chance to play Super Rugby, so I can't wait to see him play. Moses Sorovi, really exciting young nine. He's someone that, I saw running around in Colts football, to be honest, a few years ago, and just saw that he's got a really naturally gifted game, and got him involved with NRC probably a little bit ahead of his time, but looking towards the future, and he's worked very hard over the last sort of 2 years to improve, and he'll get his opportunity off the bench.
Lockie Moreno, it's going to make his run debut, pretty massive, considering he's only played 2 minutes in Argentina recently. Carmichael Hunt, how's he pulled up?
Yeah, Carmichael just got a hit to the head on the weekend. In the modern game now, it's something that we're very conscious of, protecting the long-term benefits of players, and head knocks are something that you can't play around with, and he was desperate to play this weekend. He's been playing very well, but just with the protocols, he wasn't going to be right in time, and I felt it was important that we made an early decision on him, not to put pressure back on him. Lockie Moranta was someone that we signed for numerous reasons. I saw him play as a schoolboy. He was very gifted fullback at Gregory Terrace. Then he went into the Broncos system, and you don't get a better culture to really grow and flourish in than at the Broncos. During his time there, he's played in numerous big games for the Broncos, And I think that experience is going to be important when we go down and play the Brumbies this weekend. You know, he's probably played down at Bruce Stadium against the Raiders, so he knows the hostile environment that he's going to be facing, and he'll be prepared. You know, he's gone back over the last sort of month. He's played rugby games for West. You know, West had a fantastic upset of Sunnybank last weekend, of which Lockie had a major influence on. So, you know, his game understanding's really growing, and he's trained exceptionally hard.
Max Vanzati still calf not right?
Yeah, really minor. You know, once again, could have nearly pushed him out to play, but just as a prop, the load you get through your calves puts you under a lot of pressure, and if it's just not right, it wasn't worth risking blowing it out completely. Probably offset with the fact that, you know, we had Seth coming back from injury, which it was, you know, he's worked hard to get back in this time frame, and then we've been really happy with how Kerwin Sanday's you know, performances off the bench for us in the last 2 weeks. He's really done a job for us, so, you know, it's pleasing to be able to give him another opportunity.
You said after the game last week you're really happy with how Taniela played. Was he disappointed to not keep that starting job?
Oh, it's still it's a growth process for Taniela. 20 years of age, tight head prop. You don't get much tougher position to play, and for him to be able to, you know, come in at late notice and start last week was a really good mental challenge for him. You talk about preparation and doing the right things. Well, Taniela did that last week. Like, he didn't stop asking questions of players. He was watching footage. He was training exceptionally well, and through that preparation, he performed very well. And so for him to go back to the bench this weekend, he's actually got to build on last week's performance and not just be happy with that. So it's another mental challenge for him to face this weekend, and really good for his growth.
Hamish Stewart again, I saw you up here in the 20s final, was outstanding, best on ground again.
Yeah, I don't think he was actually best on ground, to be honest. I don't know who throws those man of the matches out these days. Listen, Hamish was very solid. I thought there was another 4 blokes that probably better than him in that game, but he played a role, played a really good role as a 10, where in that first half he just played very good field position. His understanding of when to kick and where to kick is really important. You know, I didn't want to rush him into the game last week on the back of only a couple of training sessions. I'm a big believer that if you put a player in, you want him to succeed, and you want to put him in the best position to succeed. And I just feel now, after that, you know, the session last week, the experience of sitting on the bench, and then a full week of training this week, that we're, you know, more inclined to use him this weekend.
You guys have kind of done limited media this week, you could say. Is that a concerted approach from you to try and show the boys how important this weekend's going to be?
Oh, it's an important game, definitely. It's you know, I just wanted our focus to be on getting ourselves right. So it was nothing really, no hidden agenda about it. It's just I want us to focus on us.
Larkham's coached, I think, 9 Australian Conference wins last couple of seasons. Why is it, do you think, the Brumbies play so well against Australian opposition?
Well, they understand the importance of the games, don't they? You know, they've played in the finals for the last so many years on the back of winning conference games. It's that simple.
And for you guys, you've sort of said as you've got a 1-5 record, but it's still only one go back in the Australian Conference. Do you almost feel like that the season is almost starting again now with how many conference games you've got to come?
Yeah, with the way the draw is for us, it definitely feels like, you know, the second season for us. You know, the first sort of 6 weeks have been rewarding but challenging along the way with the 1-5 record, but we've been able to make a lot of strides around what we feel is acceptable as a group, and what we know is minimum standards around preparation and professionalism, and we're full confidence that on the back of that, that we're going to really, you know, go ahead and play some good football through this second half of the season.